Have you ever been in a situation where you have to decide between right versus right? Where you're caught between choosing the best for most but not for all? If your answer to this question is a big yes, then you have encountered an ethical dilemma. To help you address these issues, here are 9 checkpoints for ethical decision making. Number 1. Be aware. This step requires to identify issues needing attention. You need to separate moral questions from other issues. You have to know whether this decision will be damaging to you, to someone, or to some group. Will it involve a choice between good or bad alternative, or between 2 goods or 2 bads? Number 2. Allocate responsibility. The second checkpoint asks you to identify whose dilemma is this. At this point, you have to ask yourself if you are responsible for the issue, because in ethics, all of us are involved. Number 3. Gather facts. Know what details are relevant, what facts are not known, what can you learn more about the issue. Do you know enough to make the decision? Who will be affected? Are there other issues more important than these? And lastly, you should also ask why. Checkpoint number 4. Test for wrongdoing. The fourth checkpoint is a question whether the case at hand involves wrongdoing. In this step, you have to consider these 4 tests. Number 1, the legal test. It involves whether the options are within the law. Sting test is more of a moral intuition. It is a test to know whether any of the options smells wrong. The front page test tells us whether we would mind seeing the issue reported in the next morning we wake up. Mom test is that if you were your mom, what would you do? The focus of this test is not about your mom, but on a moral standard who cares for you the most. Checkpoint number 5. Determine the paradigms. If the issue at hand passes the test for wrongdoing, the next question will be why is there dilemma? In this case, you have to analyze the 4 dilemma paradigms. The short-term versus long-term benefits. This reflects difficulties that arise whether immediate needs or desire counter the future goals, taking into account who pays or suffers or who benefits. Justice versus mercy. This is fairness, equity, and even-handed application of the law which conflicts with compassion, empathy, and love. Individual versus community. It is simply small group versus large group. Truth versus loyalty. It is your honesty versus your commitment. Checkpoint number 6. Resolve. Once the choice between 2 sides have been clearly expressed, consider relevant rules, expected results, and impact on relationships. Checkpoint number 7. Do the trilemma. After resolving, ask yourself if there is a third way out. Remember, this step may take into action anytime during the process. Checkpoint number 8. Decide the course of action. At this point, there's nothing left but to finally make your decision. Most of the time, this step is often overlooked. You know the decision, but you have to finally make it happen. This action is important and you have to be the one to do it. And lastly, you have to reflect. When everything's done, it is important to go back through, to analyze the process and its outcome. Revisit your decision later. Ask yourself the question, what might be learned from this? Talk about it, write it down, and keep it on hand for further use. This will help build expertise and help adjust the moral compass and also provide new examples for moral discussions. And there you have it. Next time that you face an ethical issue, go back to the 9 checkpoints and go for the right decision.